Errol Spence fans angry over Terence Crawford defeat, says Shakur Stevenson. What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Cardinal Red. But let's talk about it. Alright, y'all. So, apparently, Shakur Stevenson feels like that the fans are super duper angry over Errol Spence taking a loss to Terence Crawford. And he said that he feels like the fans didn't get what they deserved out of that fight. And for some reason, Errol Spence looked sloppy and lethargic during the fight. And I just wanted to give my 32 nickels on what's going on and break it down for anybody listening.
The cream always rises to the top. You put certain people in certain situations, like somebody like Bud, throw all these things at him, you say all these bad things about him, and you say, oh, he's not this and he's not that. And I feel like he take it as fuel. He let the fuel burn inside of him, and then on that day, he's going to shine. And I feel like in his biggest moment, I feel like he came through and he shined the brightest.
All right, y'all. So why does Shakur Stevenson feel like the fans are angry after this fight, Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr., which happened less than a week ago? Well, to be honest, I think fans are right about being angry about the fight, but me personally, I'm not one to make up all the excuses that a lot of the boxing channels that are Spence fans are making.
Oh, I'll just have some juice. You know, I think I've lost the will to live.
You ain't lost your will to drink.
You know, I do think that there were some things that ultimately happened that made Errol Spence lose that fight. And I don't want to take anything away from Bud because he did his job. You know, shouts out to Bud Crawford. Did exactly what you were supposed to do. But to be honest, I agree with everything Shakur Stevenson had to say about the fans being angry over the outcome. Not saying that Terence Crawford didn't deserve to win, but fans, I think, feel like it wasn't even a competition.
I'm gonna break both your jaws, sucker.
So when it comes down to who won and who lost, that part don't matter because there was obviously something wrong with Errol Spence Jr. Now, I'm not going to sit up here and diagnose Errol Spence. I'm not going to say he had something going on up here. I'm not going to say that it was, somebody slipped him something. I'm not saying nothing, out of the ordinary like that. But obviously, when you watch that fight, Errol Spence had two things going on, if you ask me. He was obviously weight drained, and his power didn't carry at all in the fight.
Why are you so upset?
Fight to end all fights.
Now, it would have been different if, he would have went 2-3 rounds and Terence Crawford just, kind of put it on him after that. But you never saw a glimpse of the normal Errol Spence.
If I was you, I'd be waiting out that long in this neighborhood. Get your hat brought to the hospital.
And, I know Terence Crawford fans will probably say, well, that was because Terence Crawford's just that good. You know what? Nobody's just that good. And I want to explain because even in some of my favorite fights like Manny Pacquiao, Miguel Cotto, Manny Pacquiao, Antonio Margarito, Manny Pacquiao, Oscar De La Hoya, some of Roy Jones' old fights, Mike Tyson old fights. Even in, some of those guys' best fights, let's just stick with the Manny Pacquiao fights. Even in a fight like Manny Pacquiao, Miguel Cotto, or Manny Pacquiao, Antonio Margarito, Margarito was still having points within the fight to where you said, okay, he might land something big and win the fight. Even though Manny Pacquiao was pummeling him for a very long time during that fight. He still had good points during the fight. Same thing with Miguel Cotto. Even though Pacquiao completely destroyed Miguel Cotto, he had points during that fight that made you go, yeah, you know, that's Miguel Cotto. And there was no excuses for him losing the fight. When it comes to this Errol Spence Terence Crawford fight, you never saw Errol Spence look himself during that fight. Not from round one to when they stopped it. He never looked like the normal Errol Spence. To be honest, I know there's going to be people that say, well, that's because, you know, he's over the hill, the car accident's catching up to him, he's got this going on, he's got that going on, but Crawford's just that good. I don't think so, man. I don't think Bud Crawford is just that good. He's great now, but it's not because he's just that good that Errol Spence didn't look like himself. There was something else. Obviously, most likely, it's the weight that was making him, you know, look so sluggish and so weak during the fight. And, you know, hopefully, once they move it to 154, all I want to see is Errol Spence give a good showing. I don't even need him to win the fight. I just need him to make it a good fight.
Man who catch fly with chopsticks accomplish anything.
If it's a decent competitive fight between both guys, then I'll be happy with that, no matter who wins, who loses. I was happy with the original fight, but I would have more liked to see a competition than a one-sided beatdown. Even if it was Errol Spence beating Terence Crawford down, I would have been like, you know what, I wanted to see Bud at least make it a showing, you know, make it a good fight. You know, you never want to see a one-sided, completely beat down.
Is this your cousin? And you lucky, nigga. I was just finna get up in your ass.
Because it's almost like watching somebody get, you know, a whooping for 45 minutes straight. You just want it to end. Stop the suffering already. And I hate to make it so comical, but I'm going to be honest with you. As I was watching the fight, I had to laugh basically to keep from feeling sorry for Errol Spence. So I'm sitting there looking at the fight and I'm like, you know, just giggling to myself because like, man, this is a massacre that's going on. It was literally watching, you know, almost like watching Amistad with two black dudes. And Terence Crawford's arms were the whips. And they were just beating the crap out of Errol Spence fresh off the slave ship. And it was horrible to watch. And, you know, it got so bad, I stopped watching it like at the 5th round. You know, I couldn't take anymore. It was just so brutal that I couldn't even finish the rest of the fight. I kept glancing at it every once in a while until they stopped it. But I'm thinking like, man, you know, I almost felt like I did when Manny Pacquiao got cheated by Jeff Horn, even though Manny Pacquiao won that fight. I had the same feeling off of that Errol Spence Terence Crawford fight, like, you know, almost sick to my stomach off the performance of Errol Spence. And, you know, I agree with Shakur Stevenson that there is some anger, especially with the Errol Spence fans. They feel slighted, and I think because they love Errol Spence so much, they don't want to direct that anger towards Spence. So they're kind of directing it toward anything that they can find that will be the perfect excuse for why he lost. I'm not making no excuses for why he lost. I'm just wondering, and I'm really angry that he didn't even show up for the fight. And, you know, I agree with Shakur that, especially with so many people betting on that fight and a lot of people buying that fight, well over 500,000, closer to 1 million buys for that pay-per-view. So there's a lot of people who paid for this, and I think they feel like I felt after Maypac. They feel cheated. You know, I felt cheated after Maypac, and You know, this is what I've been trying to explain to people for a while, man.
I want the whole world to see me destroy this man after 2 short rounds. But there won't be much. Southpaw jinx nothing. Last time I took the fight too lightly and this man was just plain lucky. This time you all will see lightning fast and hard to catch. No playing, no jiving, just business. On Thanksgiving, in front of this man's home crowd, I'm gonna drop him like a bad habit. Does this look like a circus to you, man?
And I just want to know what y'all think about all that down in the comment section below. Hit that like button for me. Share, subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. More than likely to get a response on the tube, so holler at me over there. If you want to collabo, feature a product or your channel on my channel, hit my Gmail because it is a flock of cards at gmail.com. And we are
You're from the Ville, you know I'm fucking with you. If you're from Kentucky, you know I'm fucking with you. You ain't never heard of me, you wanna get familiar. Well, my nigga, let me paint a picture. 12 motherfuckers splitting 3 bedrooms. Dang, my nigga, let me get some leg room. Every single night we watch the 10 o'clock news. Young black man murdered over tennis shoes. Every year we move to a brand new hood. Had to fight a nigga just to make it understood. Bitch, I learned to fight from Wayne and you nothing. First thing they taught me, nigga, swing if you touch it. Moved out of town when I turned 19. Seen $400 pounds of light green. Moved back home before I turned 20. I guess you could say that was the birth of Louis Keys. It was time to let these niggas know my name. Young Real introduced me to the game. He was rapping too big back in the day. When they had Daddy Yo and Hurricane, they was getting beats from Willie Will and Lil J. Can't forget Young Surge, they did they thing. That motivated me to do the same, and I did it. Spit it so clean, they thought I came from a dentist. This is for my niggas with a chain gang sentence. When you make it home, I got some change and some bitches. No hook, but they still play it in the club. 7 grams of the loud, paid about a dub. Cause I know the plug and I know the outlet. Feel snapback I got ain't came out yet. Nigga, please listen to the game that I'm slinging. Tax time come around, I claim like I'm banking. Ain't nothing worse than $1 million bitch that'll fuck for a purse. I need a nurse, I think I'm getting sicker. My nigga Dose came through with 2 bottles of liquor. This is for my nigga Moski and all the other real OG. Do a line, pop a pill, roll some weed. Take a seat and listen to the Book of Keys.